Does Islam allow women to educate themselves to achieve their ambitions, like becoming a doctor, archaeologists, scientists, etc., or her place only is in her house? Well, actually, both are valid, meaning that nothing in Islam prevents a woman from pursuing her studies. She could be a doctor, she could be an engineer, she could be an accountant, she could be anything that she wants to be, providing that the Islamic guidelines are followed. What do you mean? Well, first of all, we know that women are not supposed to study in mixed places. They're not supposed to work in mixed places, because in the salat, the Prophet told us ﷺ, that the worst rows of men are the last, and the worst rows of women are the first. So even in prayer, in the masjid, in the house of Allah, house of worship, they have to be segregated. And the further they are from one another is the best in their reward. So how would you classify studying in a mixed environment and working in a mixed environment, staying with a non-mahram for 8 hours, and maybe chit-chatting, maybe taking off the hijab, maybe flirting, maybe praising one another? Of course, this is un-Islamic. But sometimes, if a woman is abiding by the hijab, staying away from other students, studying what is essential for the ummah, such as medicine, we need medical doctors, especially female doctors, to treat our women, our wives and sisters and mothers. If she abides by these conditions, then this is halal and permissible. However, staying at home is also something that Islam recommends. As Allah mentioned in chapter 33, verse 33, وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ, remain in your homes, because this is best for the whole community. When a woman stays home, takes care of her family, of her children, of her husband, of her parents, whatever she is supposed to take care of, rather than going out 8 to 10 hours, mixing with men, and neglecting her duties. Who will take care of the children in the house? The maid. And the maid will take care of the husband. And then we know what happens afterwards. This imbalance causes a lot of chaos and disturbance in the community. And this is why there's nothing wrong in a woman studying to achieve her goals, providing that her goals do not go against the Islamic teachings. A woman says, I'd like to be a civil engineer. Sister, if you become a civil engineer, this means that you have to go to projects and you have to work on site. No hijab can help you do that. You have to communicate with laborers, you have to communicate with men and order them and shout at them. And this is totally against Islam. She says, I want to become a judge. You cannot become a judge and talk to men and meet with men and sometimes be in seclusion with men. This defies the purpose of hijab. But yes, becoming anything else that is within the boundaries of Islam for a woman to work, there is nothing wrong in that, inshallah.
So I saw many of your videos regarding whether marriage is obligatory or not, and can someone decide not to get married? And in one of your videos you said that a person who has no desire to get married at the moment, he or she can postpone their marriage for a couple of years and so on. But my question is, if someone has desire for the opposite gender but they have control over that desire and they know they will not fall into haram, can he or she decide not to get married ever? Jazakallahu khairan.
Wa jazakum. Well, this again is not the question to be asked. Someone who does not have any desire to the opposite gender, is he obliged to get married? The answer is no. But it is not how we look at things. Marriage is one of Allah's signs. Allah created spouses so that they can inhibit one another. And Allah made between them mercy and compassion. Even if you don't have the desire, you may have it and develop it next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. But the more you get older, the less the demand is. And the market is open. And it is ruled by demand and supply. Women in previous years, their marriage average rate was 18, 17. So when I got married 40 years ago, about 40 years ago, that was the norm, 17 or 18. If she was 23, whoa, that's too much. Nowadays, it's like 28. Why? Because men are not interested. A lot of them are, unfortunately, not practicing. So they fulfill their desires through haram means, or they are more oriented towards their jobs and career. So they don't get married until they're 40 or 45, which is very sad for a Muslim to wait this long and waste the most beautiful years of his life without a companion. Nevertheless, if a woman says, I don't want to get married ever, and she doesn't have any desire for the opposite gender, and there is no fitna, that's her problem. Is she doing a good thing? Definitely not. She's going against the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, saw a man once and asked him, are you married? And the man said, no. And probably the man was in his mid-20s or 30s. So Umar looked at him and said, one of two. Nothing is preventing you from getting married except either impotency or you are a playboy, a fornicator. Because this is not normal. Everybody is looking forward to get married. This is a natural thing. So are you following the Sunnah? Definitely not. Are you losing a lot of reward because you're refusing to get married? Definitely yes. But am I sinful? It depends from one case to the other. Muhammad from Malaysia. So he says that we online classes, by the university, they set us in groups. And so many times there are boys and girls in such a group. And we're forced to do this. We're forced to have this group come up with a research paper or a project to present. And our grades and passing the course depends on that. So is this halal? Due to being forced to do it, being forced to be in a class with the opposite gender, this is something for men that is mandatory. They are the breadwinners. They have to obtain a degree in order to work, in order to get married and have a job and have a house and a family. So they are obliged to follow this. We cannot just simply say to people, no, don't go to universities, work as a janitor, work as an Uber driver, work as a delivery boy. No, this is not appropriate. However, once you are forced to be in such groups, you have to abide by the Islamic rulings. No seclusion, lowering your gaze, no flirting or socializing or chit-chatting. Be straight to the point. Be serious. Don't crack jokes. Don't try to impress others, because you are forced to do this. It's exactly when you find yourself stranded in the desert, about to die due to starvation, and you find a dead donkey. So you have to eat in order to remain alive, and this is permissible in Islam. You don't feast on it and start to make a French gourmet and put appetizers and the stuff and invite others. You just eat a morsel or two that maintains your life, and this is for someone who's stranded and is in a necessity like you. But to go on and do whatever you want, this is totally unaccepted and not permissible.